Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
When you have to sit in front of someone giving a presentation and they got some kind of software slideshow going on, do you zone out? Me too. And that's largely why I don't do presentations with software supporting the presentation, for a lot of reasons, because a lot of them they're horrible. And I mean, just bad. And it's not so much the software, it's the person who's using the software, the person who used the software to compile the presentation. It's just bad. The software doesn't give the presentation. The presenter gives the presentation. It's also why when I stand in front of a crowd, I usually say, well, I'm not much of a speaker, but I am a talker. And I'm also someone who enjoys sharing tips and tricks. So is M. Rivera1 from the chat room at live.pirillo.com, and he is here at this point, at the time that we're recording this, because normally we stream, well, we're always streaming live video out, but M. Rivera1 happens to be here. He says, I've sent several previous top 5s and even a top 10 in the past, and I think I've got one this time that will be of some use for the community. And you, by watching this video, are a part of the community. Being a student, I have to make so many PowerPoint presentations, and PowerPoint, mind you, is a brand name. That's Microsoft's name for presentation software. But PowerPoint is pretty much like Kleenex. You know, it's not tissue paper, it's a Kleenex. It's a brand that is now, Google is to search for something. A PowerPoint is now, I think, synonymous with any kind of software presentation. Over the years of making, editing, and presenting my own PowerPoint presentations, I've learned many valuable lessons that I use to make my presentations better. I hope that the community will like my top 5 list and find it useful as well. Number 1, be sure to make sure your presentation is appropriate for the audience in whom or to whom you are going to present it. That means don't put funny sounds or transitions on presentations that are going to be made to a group of executives, for purposes of professionalism, of course. If you're going to make a presentation to a slightly less critical crowd, like a classroom or a presentation for some coworkers of yours, then such add-ons might be more appropriate. Failing to tailor your presentation to the audience can cost you big time, as depending on who you're presenting it to, different reactions may take place. Sometimes such reactions can put you and or your reputation in jeopardy. Number 2, be sure your presentations are easy to read. I'm going to say that again. Be sure to make sure your presentations are easy to read. Presentations are useless if the audience can't even see what's on the slides. Be sure not to make the text too big or too small. I'd recommend between 48 point, 36 point, fonts for titles, and between 24 point and 18 point for regular old text. If the text is too big, it may not fit all into one slide, and if the text is too small, then some people probably won't be able to read it. Also, use clearer fonts. I like fonts such as Arial, Helvetica, Tahoma, Gill Sans MT, etc., for presentations, as they are modern, smooth, and of course easy to read. Sans serif fonts. Of course, if you cannot avoid a less than perfect reading situation, I recommend passing out an outline of your presentation to the audience. An outline is a copy of all the text included in your presentation that can be passed out in order for them so they'd be able to read along with the presentation on screen in a little more comfortable fashion on their lap. So they don't have to take notes, which of course decreases the stress level. And by the way, the best readability for text happens to be yellow text on a blue background. Number 3, make your presentations professional looking. And this, by the way, the presentation that I have up behind me, this was submitted by M. Rivera1 as well, and he's going to give us a link for me to pass along to you so that you can download a presentation of this particular presentation video. He did a very good job with it, too. Much more professional than I've seen a lot of allegedly professional presentations compiled and presented. No matter what your audience is, nothing looks better than a good-looking presentation. That means no more Windows 95 white. We're all in the 21st century, and so your presentations can look way better now. A great way to have a professional-looking presentation is to add graphics in a clean fashion. This means insert some picture files, add cool effects to them like 3D charts and graphs, shadows, word art, 3D art, and make sure if you have trouble with any of this, you can use themes or look into the themes if you have problems. Most presentation maker software like PowerPoint, Keynote, etc. have built-in themes that make everything look great with just one click. It's a quick and easy way to take a basic-looking presentation and make it look better. And, of course, ditch Times New Roman. It is, in my opinion, the worst font on earth. Now, this is written by M. Rivera 1. I would agree completely. I hate Times. It is used way too frequently, and it doesn't look as good as some of the other fonts out there. See the number 2 point about fonts you might want to look into. Making your presentation look good can make you look good, and it shows that you put in some effort. For instance, you'll see it's very clean. Now, of course, I'm watching this presentation on a monitor, and you're across the room, so you're not going to be able to make out the text. But he's put in nice fading transitions between the slides. Very professional. Very professional. Number 4, don't just have text. I'm reiterating this for a reason. Nothing is more boring than a text-only presentation. This isn't 1993. There's so much more you can do now in your presentation. Add objects, pictures, video clips, sounds, graphics, as long as it's appropriate, to have something to do with your presentation. So don't just throw in a clip art that has, like, nothing to do with your presentation at all. Make it relevant if you're going to put it in there. It gets the concept across a lot easier, makes your presentation interesting. Oh, and be sure to use the cool editing effects that today's presentation software titles have. Other things like transitions, subtle transitions, of course, can make a presentation really stand out. Number 5, format the text information correctly. Use bullet points. No one wants to read a large paragraph of text in the middle of a presentation. It becomes very difficult to extract the good information when the text is formatted this way. So bullet point the important, necessary information that will be of use to some of the audience. The presentation will be more useful this way. Bonus tip, add your own information and experience to the presentation. This is the Wicket. I know, it really upsets him. This is where I lose my dogs. They get really upset when I tell them not to read directly from their presentation, because they do that. You ever notice how some dogs up on stage, when they've got the presentation, they read directly from it? That's bad. That's bad. Don't just read what it says. Unleash your own experience and knowledge upon the audience. Even if you made the presentation, things seem to be a lot easier when the experience is explained by the person, the presenter, afterward. Add more information that you couldn't include in the slide for whatever reason. And finally, be sure to explain the contents of the presentation thoroughly and with eye contact to the audience. This makes the message much more clear. You are the presenter. This is the presentation software. You are the center of attention. This is supporting you. And I'm pointing at you, but me, because I'm right now presenting, not really using this. It's one of the reasons why you don't see me doing a ton of screencasts, because you may be paying attention to my voice, you may be paying attention to the screen, but I find that this is a much more engaging method when it comes to interacting with you, the audience, the community in general. It's another reason why I throw live chat into the videos as well. So, there you go. Some tips for PowerPoint presentations or just presentation software in general. Really do appreciate that one. I still hate sitting through these kinds of presentations. I do, because they just tend to drag on and on. How many slides does this guy have? He can't present. Just talk to me. You're up on stage for a reason. These things are typically boring. And if these things are boring, what does that say about the presenter? Send along your thoughts. Maybe you've got further tips for presentations, making presentations without software or with software. Whatever you got, I'd love to share it with the rest of the community. My email address is chris@pirillo.com. And, of course, you're also welcome to swing by our chat room, where we're not really doing presentations so much, but we got this live video feed that goes out onto the internet for free. It's kind of like a television show, but it's not really television. It's definitely not a show. It's just kind of my life, and I'm sharing it with the rest of you, and thank goodness you're sharing your life with me. And if you made it this far in the video, good for you. You are in a minority, because I'm sure a lot of people tuned out after they heard the word PowerPoint. No matter, you're welcome to stop by and say hello to the rest of us watching the live video streaming through with the chat room and everything. We're waiting for you, so what are you waiting for? Take a look. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, typically talking tech at live.pirillo.com. We'll see you later.